the sense of like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Kind of that kind of vibe. We're like, oh, like a lot of my African girlfriends in high school couldn't like. I was a party girl in high school. Like their parents ain't going for that.
They did not. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a different vibe. But I've always like connected with those communities.
What were your earliest thoughts about Africa in your as a child? You know, like what do you remember? You know, like
I'm a Southern girl.
Yeah.
So my family is real country. And like, to be honest, Black people in general have very bad misconceptions about life in Africa.
Okay.
But it's worse when you in the country with country folk. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even I just went home to visit my sweet granddaddy, Lord. I interviewed him on my channel. I don't know if y'all saw that one.
Yeah, I did see parts of it.
I cut him up a bowl of papaya, mango, and banana for breakfast. And he was like, oh my God, did you learn this African dish in Africa? And I'm like, you do realize this is just a bowl of fruit. Do you get what I'm saying? So, like, they just, like, everyone has a lot of misconceptions. So when I was growing up, what I thought of Africa was, like, struggle. Oh, Lord. You know, those commercials, like.
Kids with
the
flies.
flies.
Yeah, like, oh, no.
Help a kid
The
for
flies
$1.
Like,
The flies and the Uji.
damn, no shoes. Like that type of vibe. So when I went to Ghana for the first time and like my boyfriend had his friends pull up like in Mercedes and I was like, ah!
Okay.
Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
he's not that big of a talker. So I never like my ex, he was not that big of a talker. So he was never like, yeah, we got this. Like we would just kind of vibe.
It's just humble.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I got there and was like, damn, like this is nice. Like, you know, so just growing up, I went to Howard University, which is a Black school. I was a history major and I am a social studies history teacher. And we never really talked about life in Africa. I was actually an African Diaspora major.
Wow.
And I never heard of Mau Mau in my whole degree.
That is.
At Howard
Who
University.
are your teachers?
I swear to God, there's so much we did not learn. And like they really focused on like Kemet and like just very specific. But Africa's so big and there's so much history.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we were just learning about like mainly the slave trade.
Okay.
As diaspora, like people out of.
Okay.
Is this the same story across all HBCUs? Because my thinking would be an HBCU would be the place where they would drill down on what's not being taught.
Howard is like the number
One.
2 HBCU. Spelman is 1, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
female. So technically, it's the number 1 because it's boys and girls. But
Yeah.
Howard is creme de la creme. You know, great. I got a great education, but I swear there's so much I did not learn. So I've just always been infatuated with Africa, though. So I've always had like African friends growing up. Like a lot of my friends growing up, it's like, oh, she smells weird. Like other Africans, to be honest. Like say it's like a group of Black Americans will just be like, oh, like your house, you can smell like her house on her, like the scents. Of, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Kind of that kind of vibe. We're like, oh, like a lot of my African girlfriends in high school couldn't like, I was a party girl in high school, like their parents ain't going for that.
They did not. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a different vibe, but I've always like connected with those communities. So as far as I can remember, like middle school and high school, really all the African girls kind of hung out together.
Okay.
And like, I'd kind of kick it with them. I've just always loved kind of like exploring different cultures. But my family has never been like, oh my God, like the Hotep vibe, like, oh yeah, our people, like, no. Like,
Okay.
when I told them like, hey, I'm going to Ghana with my man, they're like, are you okay? Like, you don't want to just go to Jamaica? Like, are you going to be able to call us? Like,
Oh, they thought you were going to the deep end.
they thought I was
off
literally,
grid.
no, for real. They thought I was unsafe, for real.
Okay.
And I don't think that it's a willful ignorance, but you have to think about what's in the media.
Yes.
So like even now, to be honest, I've lived in DMV my whole life. I swear to God, I've never met a Kenyan up here.
Okay.
Huh?
How?
I've never met a Kenyan here. I've lived here and gone to college.
So
maybe-
Even in
Wow.
Howard?
so wait a minute. Are we the first DMV Kenyans that you're meeting?
No, Corpa. I chill
Okay.
with Corpa.
Okay.
That's my first
Copa,
like.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my new friend.
Okay.
I feel
So
like
she's
But we are
new.
still among the first.
He.
Oh, he's still new.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not here, but he's my friend.
Okay. No, I
Okay.
mean in the DMV. When did you start meeting Kenyans?
Literally just when I got
Yesterday,
back here.
Literally.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I met Corpa a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
But it's that's what I go to say. When you're not looking for something,
Yeah.
you don't find it.
You won't
That's
find
true.
it.
So I do have one Kenyan friend, Vivian Ngoje, that me and her are super cool, but she lives in Atlanta.
Okay.
Okay.
So like she kind of helped me when I was going to Nairobi, but whatever. My point is when you're not looking to find something, you don't see it. So
True.
like if I'm not looking into African history or looking into what life in Africa is right now, you're not going to see it. If you're not digesting that content, like now that I am a African content creator type, that's all I see on my timeline.
Okay.
But before, I would never see stuff about Africa or life in Africa on my timeline unless you're looking for it.
Forward. So let me ask you, how did you meet the person who took you to Ghana?
In the club.
Your ex in the
Okay.
club.
In the
Okay.
club in Atlanta.
All
Oh,
right.
okay.
But my first boyfriend was Nigerian. I don't want to sound like a weird fetishy
No,
type.
that's
Yeah, I was
not
about to say, I've just
necessarily.
always been like attracted to African men. I don't
Okay.
have a fetish though.
Okay.
Okay.
My first boyfriend, I met him at Howard University, and he was Nigerian. His family named me Labake Olusanya, which is a Yoruba name. And he was just different. I'm a very curious person. I love curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
and I love different cultures.
Okay.
So I've always been like, what can you teach me? Like that type vibe. And I like the culture. A lot of the values that Africans have that are different from kind of American or Western life, I actually really appreciate and vibe with.
Like,
So,
can you tell us more about what values those are?
he was very modest. He
Okay.
was very like into his education, not playing like hood, but to a limit. Like my dad's gonna beat my ass if I fail this semester, so I gotta go home. Like that type of vibe.
Okay.
Like he just taught me a lot. Kind of. I don't know. I just was feeling the vibe. He was more calm and more like, I don't want to say strict because that's like kind of a weird way to put it, but he was just more traditional.
Okay.
Let's say that.
Okay.
Like he wasn't like trying to be a thug. Like
Okay.
he was like, no, my family and what they think of me is actually very important to me.
Okay.
I'm here. I have to get this degree, even though like the concept of him being forced to be an engineering major was foreign to me. Because where I grew up in the suburbs, it's like, I want to be an art major. Okay, Johnny, go do that. He was like, I'm an engineering major because I have to be, like my family, and that just kind of
High
sparks-
expectations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of sparked me because I'm like, dang, your family's making you? Like, that's fucked up. Like, and he's like, no, like, this is what life is like here, and we have to do this, and my dad came here for this, and that stuff I was foreign to.
And that's fairly normal in a lot of African families.
Exactly, that's
Yeah.
a norm for you guys versus me as an African American. I mean, my parents let me go to Howard to be a history major. I switched from philosophy, but we don't even want to talk about that. Like,